Hello, interns and associates, and welcome back to another episode of the Cubicle podcast. I'm the co-host Charlie Armstrong, while my other co-host JC Moss is unfortunately not able to attend today. He's calling out sick, but we're clocking in today, having our next guest on, Jason, who is now in the Cubicle, and he's going to talk about all things work-related regarding his background. He's been someone who's been putting in real work behind the lens and building their name in the photography space. This is a photographer whose journey started back in 2016 during high school, working as a yearbook photographer. From there, they took things into their own hands, freelancing, capturing moments, and developing their craft over time. During COVID, he took things more seriously and launched his photography page. Even after facing setbacks, obviously, what is life, right? Like getting their account hacked, they stayed consistent and came back even stronger. The hacker did not achieve. In 2024, they attended their first major event with Focus Camera, collaborating with Sony and connecting with a wide range of creatives, from photographers to models and videographers. That experience helped evaluate their vision and expanded his network. Over the past couple of years, he has been actively attending events, meeting new people, and growing within the creative community. Now he's focused on turning his passion into a full business, building a team, launching an LLC, and working towards bigger opportunities like major events and fashion shows, which will all be said in the Cubicle, as well as starting a podcast, as we were just talking about before. So you'll get to hear everything that's in the Cubicle. So let's get into it.
Yes, let's do it.
Yes, let's do it. So let's start back with you originally being in high school, did the yearbook photos.
Yes.
What kind of sparked you like being interested in photography at the beginning?
Honestly, from what I saw, like how the previous yearbooks were and seeing how previous seniors went out with their years in a bang, it was the memory build. And obviously, you want to keep those memories intact because I love those, especially with friends and family and very close ones. So I thought, in that year, let me do something great in the yearbook. Let me be a part of something as well too. Not to mention that over during that year, I recently lost my grandfather before my senior year, which I was hoping that he would stick around. And I was like, you know what, I want to make a great impression this year. Besides academically, something like I wanted to achieve that I felt that was great. Something that people would like, wow, like he really just did that out of nowhere. So I thought the photography page for the yearbook would be a good start and other things as well too. But mostly was taking photos for the yearbook was the best thing because after looking at the photos in my yearbook, which I wished I actually brought it with me because I actually had it with me,
Oh, really?
but I forgot to bring it with me and I was in a hurry. But I
Okay.
would definitely make like a 10 year. I meant to make a 10-year post as well too, from like the start till
We
how I
can link it to the
experiment as well.
post or
Yes,
the
definitely. I
episode.
will make it definitely link it to it.
Yeah.
So during the time, I was just going with the flow, went for it, no hesitation. And during the time, luckily, I had to improvise as well too. I recently lost that first camera that I had, but luckily the memory chip was there and it had uploaded everything from the previous time. So I had to stick to using a iPad for the rest of the year, and luckily enough, it managed to work out just fine. After my senior year, I got a new one, same camera that I currently have right now. I just was like freelancing, messing around here and there, testing out to see what good shots to get around here and there. I didn't know the settings fully, so I just thought, just just click away, find out what happens and stuff. The biggest thing that I ever did after high school during my college days as well too was an anime convention called Liberty City Anime Con. I went there 3 times actually, back in 2017, 2018, and 2019. Very fun. A lot of cosplayers. That was the first time I actually met cosplayers and actually got to know like the art of it as well too. And I was pretty inspired and frowned upon from it. I remember I went down in 2019 in cosplay. I did a Vocaloid duo, Kaido, the character with the blue hair.
Mhm.
And then I did one of my own, Yankees Pokemon trainer, and actually went out really well as well too, because I actually ended up having a picture with a Digimon cosplayer and an Ash Ketchum cosplayer as well too, which was pretty cool as well. And then after that, in my college day, we experienced COVID, the sad days, depressing days as well too. That's when I was just like taking photos here and there a little bit, left and right, which I'm not gonna lie, it was actually very quiet, very calming as well too. I took photos like a little bit in the park, downtown Houston, Times Square. There was one time I actually managed to experience the quietness of Times Square. It was like rainy, gloomy, but it was actually very nice. And I remember like looking at it, I was like, wow, I said, if this is how the apocalypse felt, I said, I would definitely capture it and just be like, wow, like it's very calming, very quiet. I couldn't even like resist that. And then luckily I posted that as well too, which I don't mind reposting it sooner or later as well.
Mhm.
So after that, made the page, and then it got hacked, as you mentioned in the brief. And I just made a new one, and then I just started taking photos here and there until 2 years later, after, no, maybe a year or two after, I just started posting pictures left and right, and posted pictures more around 2023 as well too. And then I was just like thinking, like, what should I do more with it? Then I just started connecting with random people who are photographers, videographers, liking certain posts I see to get an idea like what I want to do exactly with my photo page as well. So I was like in one group chat where it was like everybody all around, like globally, just connecting, talking, and giving like a share brief moment, asking like, hey, what do you guys do and this and that and stuff like that. What do you guys do inside the photographer world, and what do you guys do outside of it? And during the time the outside of it, I worked simple 9 to 5 jobs. I've done an experience with Amazon positions as well too, warehouse associate with fulfillment center, fresh, and currently doing Whole Foods as well too, down in 97. Part time, trying to find something full time as well too in the city, while having this as a side hobby to develop into a
I
business.
see. Okay, very cool. That's a
Yes,
very interesting background.
yes.
So that's amazing. So you did study photography in college, correct? Or was it something else?
No, it was
Or
something else. I just
okay.
picked that as like side, like distraction from all the craziness, work and school.
Okay, so what did you study when you were in college?
It was like, well, it was computer tech, and
Oh,
then I switched it to medical as well. Because I after college, I went to another program, the Swedish Institute as well for surgical tech. And then after that, I took a break from the academics and just started just like working around just to pay back the debt for that. And then here comes the photography part where it was like, you know what? What if I make that into a hobby and see where it goes? And then from there on, it just developed like left and right.
and the goal is now how to see how your hobby can now become a career path for you.
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
see. Do you think you would ever see yourself going anywhere medically after kind of studying that in college, or is it just kind
Mm,
of a dead
maybe,
path?
depending like how planning go in a sense. Because I did apply for NYU Langoon down in 38 for the housekeeping position. So hopefully I'll hear from them in the 2 or 3 months to see how that goes. That way I can see how I can balance that, having a city job and having a business. Because I want to like at least show that as well too.
Yeah, the versatility and how to manage both in your life,
Yes.
being a student, but also being an entrepreneur and a
Yeah.
founder. That's
Yeah.
also extremely important. So it says that you work with a lot of photographers, other photographers with models, and then you also do a lot of videography. Do you want to tell us like who maybe you have modeled or like what kind of photo shoots you've like been a part of?
So we're gonna jump a year after 2023. That's where it started when I started meeting models and other media and photographers and videographers. The first event I did back in September of 2024 was Focus Camera. It was called the Timeless Glam. That was the theme. The theme was like Oscar Grammy theme. I always keep mixing them up, but I think it was Oscar, I believe, theme. And everyone dressed up, dressed down for it. It was a really nice setup. It was at the Loft in Brooklyn at a rooftop. And this is the part where I actually said, "Oh, I'm gonna actually gonna meet people, and I'm gonna actually meet models and photographers." And I kept seeing the ads, the advertisements of it. I was like very enthusiastically excited for it. And not to mention, I always get to test the Sony camera as well too, because everyone talks about those. And I'm a Canon user. I love my Canon, and I want to get a mirrorless Canon as well too. But then the Sony is like also like the devil on my shoulder, like, hey, get us as well too, so that way you have 3 cameras, but one is a different brand. So got there in the nick of time. I met one of the Focus members named Gianna. She's a very nice person, and I think I met person that's also named Jason as well too. Very awesome guy as well too. Also met or heard of Harlow creators as well. One of the people I met was Travis, which funny I met him after like 2 days after the event, and then that's when I met some photographers around there as well too. I met some photographers and models that were in the same group that I ended up meeting 2 days after as well. And then there was one person that I met at the thing as well too, named Joelle, and Shot by Jasmine as well too. I actually got to meet them the first time, and Shot by Jasmine is a very, very inspiration when it comes to taking photos. Like, don't hesitate, don't hold back on your stuff. Post it if you feel like it's a good thing, a good time, a good photo that you want to post and share. just do it. Don't worry about the likes. Don't worry about the comments. Don't worry about the backlash or anything like that. Well, the backlash hasn't like the negative feedback. Just post it out there and just keep doing your thing. The more exposure you get out there, the more noticed you'll be. And I was liking that. So when I was over there, I took a Funko Pop over there, and there was this nice little setting, like this little concrete block right there, and then there was this light, and the Funko Pop I had was a Batman Funko Pop, and I thought, you know what, let me just take the shot right here. And they were like, whoa, wait, dude, that is so cool. It looked like you got the back signal in the background and stuff like that. I was like, right? I was like, why not? And then I put that in the photo contest, and then everyone was like, I hope that Funko Pop wins. Everyone was like, who's the one with the Funko Pop? Who's the one with the Funko Pop? And everyone's like, yo, that Funko Pop better win. And then when they found out who was the winner, I didn't win, sadly. But they were like, who was the Funko? And then when they saw me took my picture, they were like, oh, you're the one that took that Funko shot? And I was like, yeah. He's like, bro, you got to keep that. I was like, oh, definitely. I got to keep this in my phone. I have the physical copy and I have the digital copy in my phone as well, too.
That we need
And
to see.
yes, I would definitely show you that. And other than that, I got to try out the Sony A7 IV along with my Canon as well too. So I had to multitask with both cameras. The A7 IV was hard to set up because I'm like, oh, it's already set up. And then I'm like, wait a minute, I got to do all the settings, put the date, time, and everything. And I was like, this is a lot of work. But then luckily enough, I got the hang of it, and I was very stout upon of meeting the models. I was at least a little nervous meeting them, but then they were very friendly, very cool, very sociable. And then the same thing for the photographers and the videographers as well. After that, night ended out well. I got to leave with my buddy Joel as well too, and we got to click right there. So then after that, I went to this one photo group meetup down in Dumbo by the water area, the carousel. That was fun as well too. And then I saw some people who had vintage cameras, Polaroids, film, and then yeah, they had one person had the projector ones, like they look back in the old days as well too. And I was like, there's no way that they have. I'm like, they gotta had to get these from a pawn shop, museums, auctions to get these. And they're like, no, this is all mine. This has been with me for all this time. And I was like, how do you guys manage to keep up with the times with those, like the canisters, the film rolls, all of that? And like it's a lot of time to like go to these film camera shops and costs us a lot of money, but it's worth it at the same time. And I was like, wow. I said, I'm very like envious of that. Like the fact that you guys get to have the time and patience to work with those. And then after that, that's when I met Harlow Creators within that same week, like a day after. Travis was showing how to use lighting and during the day, during the night, especially like during like shaded areas, especially when it's daytime, when the sun is very out. And Harlow Creators is very impressive with their lighting. And their lights may cost an arm and a leg, but when you have the money to actually do the installment plan and whatever, those lights are unique. Like they don't like make your face or like your whole body look bright when you're shooting, like getting that shot. And then it just comes out very nice. And I was liking every moment that we was doing as well too. And then after that, within that same day, I met the most creative group that I would say is the best source of inspiration if you ever want to do modeling or getting iconic photos or videos. Night Dreams Collective. This is a group that honestly I didn't think I would hit off right off the bat. They did an alley shoot between Staples of Chambers and Cortland. No, not is it Cortland Alley, I believe that's what it's called. It's right around where you get up Canal area. So there was that alley, and then we walked right up to like Chambers where they have that hard brick road alley as well too. So it was like a short walk. That's when we passed the Jenga building front as well too. And big group, but very sociable, very fun, very engaging. And I that was the first time I ever did a night shoot as well too, which it was hard, but it was not bad at the same time. We were testing out like motions with catching like the RGB light. And they had this one guy who used this spike where he just twirls it, and when the more spice it makes it look like a torch, like how the Doctor Strange portal. That's why I call it the Doctor Strange effect, which was pretty much awesome. And I was like, that is so cool. And ever since I just got to meet with some people, talking, and find out like what their background is, what they like, and how long they've been doing this as well. And they were just, like I said, very awesome people. So After that, I got to went to more of their meetups, did a lot of amazing things, learned a thing or two, and they were also the source of inspiration to say, hey, start editing your stuff, start, testing out to see how your edits would come out. And I was like, okay, no problem. So in November, within that same year, we did this project called Neptune. So the focus was on capturing the color blue. Some of the models dressed up like in all kinds of blue, and not to mention we also got like some good blue skies as well too. And once we got the imagery, that was a test of editing, like the test of how the blue would come out in your point of view. And I was like, wow, I said, this is so much bigger than I thought. Like I testing out light blue, dark blue, all kinds of varieties of the blue color. And when I posted some, that's when I was like, okay, I gotta see how to make a big caption out of this. And I was like, the planet Neptune. I said, what is unique for it? Like, why did he pick that? And then I'm like, oh, I said, it's a cold planet known for its liquid basin. I was like, okay, let me put the scientific quote in this because I like to make quotes, captions related to the topic of the photos I'm doing as well,
Mhm.
which that was a big thing. And it's hard to make a caption, especially when you have iconic photos that you take as well. So after that, that's when the editing process came into play and capturing your best moments as well too. Because I remember I was told like, hey, like whenever you send out photos, pick out your best ones. Like I know you have like the continuous effect, but just pick out your best ones and pick out like different best ones in the same row. And I was like, okay, not a problem. So Night Dreams has been like a big source of inspiration of like me wanting to get better, and that's what they want to as well too. They want us out there and show off like the creativity that we had done that can get us into other places as well too. And luckily it has. And not to mention the mutual friends that they have is amazing and it's crazy because once you see like once I ask somebody I'm like, oh wait, you know Night Dreams, right? Now yeah, I'm like, oh look at you, like how about that? Like and I'm like, have we met before? And they were like, yeah, we met at this other event. And I'm like, no way. I'm like, how? And the crazy thing was that time that some of the people from Focus within that same group as well too. And since then, most people that I've known from that group will go to the same events, share the same interests, share the same things that we might be getting into, some things that we are open to go down to as well. Models, photographers, videographers would just say like, hey, when are we gonna do this? Or we will share ideas and our leader, our captain, called Captured by Night Dreams, also known as Denier, he would be like, let's see if we could work something out. And he would definitely like handpick like those that has like an interest or a goal or an idea and say, hey, we're gonna do this. You down? Hey, I'm handpicking some of you guys. Let's see if you guys are down for that. Or hey, we're gonna do an epic one together and let's see who's down for that. And ever since then, they pushed me to actually see what other stuff to do as well too. After the creative arc, then that's when I entered the fashion runway arc as well too. So after November, December I did a fashion holiday show from ICU. ICU is also a fashion runway show biz that likes to bring a lot of designers, creatives, networkers all together into one show. Hosted by a person named Chavez. Very great guy, very awesome, very great host as well. And I was like wondering where I was getting myself into as well too, because I didn't think what it was. It was like ICU Network, so I go by that name. So the moment I got there, it was down at the penthouse down at 46, I believe. And I'm like wondering like what's going on, like what are we doing? And I'm seeing a whole runway, like a self-made runway. And I'm like, this is a runway, like a fashion show? And they're like, yep. I was like, oh, and they're like, this is your first time? Yeah. And I see everyone has all the gear that they actually use, the proper lens, lighting. And I was like, uh-oh, I am not up for this. I'm not prepared for this, essential wise. And I'm just like, I don't think I'm ready for this. And then they're like, you all right? You feel nervous? I said, yeah, I'm kind of nervous because I don't have the right gear like you guys. And they're like, you want to use it? I said, no, no. I said, I don't want to use it. He said, no, listen, the lights will come on. The lights will be setting in left and right. And we got this as well too next to it. And they were like, your camera lens might be perfect for that as well too as they come down as soon as they get close. And then they're going to let you go left and right as well too. So I was like, okay, maybe that doesn't feel that bad. And then luckily enough, I managed to get some photos here and there, left and right during intermission as well too. That's when I asked people saying like, hey, what is a good lens to use when you're doing runway shows? And they said get the 2470, 75-300, and I'm looking them up, and I'm like, well, like they're not expensive, like for a lens itself on Amazon or wherever you get them from. So after that, then I think during January we were in 2025. Still a lot of creative stuff we was doing as well, left and right, doing Night Dream stuff, Focus as well, Harlow creators as well, and also met Oh Snap Productions as well. That's another group that was asking me to come down. I never got a chance to until like I believe February. Either February? No, I'm lying. January. Actually, the beginning of the year. They did like a high school shoot, which honestly that made me felt I was like back in high school because I was this taking me back when I did photos in my yearbook, and they're like, "You did a yearbook photo?" I said, "Yeah." I said, I keep forgetting I did that, and yeah, it made me feel like I was back in high school, a little different because it was more a photo shoot as well. So that's when I first met Oh Snap. And then February, oh no, and then within that same month, Night Dreams did an awesome subway shoot. That was an epic one as well. And we were literally taking over a whole cart in the subway on the E train line, especially. And that one was epic. We didn't think we was able gonna do that. Some people came on, they were trying to wonder like what is going on, and they were like, "It's a photo shoot. We're just gonna create it." And they're like, "No, it's okay. Like this is crazy. Like, but this is epic." We went from World Trade down to 14th Street on the E line. Got up there, got a few shots right there, here and there, and then we went down to this spot deeper than 14th area. Well, I forgot the name, but it was like an arcade, not an arcade, but it was like a bar restaurant also that had like ping pong tables, arcade games, a Connect Four, and a slide where you enter on the top floor and you just slide right down. And I went down the stairs and I'm like, where is everybody that was I was like, where's the two people that was behind me? And they came sliding through the thing. I was like, oh, there's a slide right here? I was like, oh, come on. No one didn't tell me that. And after that, we all had like a group, like, speech and stuff like that, kicking off the year with creativity, introducing the faces, which I was one of the faces, and I was like, oh, come on now. And I think I got the impression that, I was happy to be around and very enthusiastic of sharing stuff and loving everyone's work as well too. And I was like, yeah, I definitely like this group. So after January, February was another start to something as well. I went to Runway 7 for the first time. And Runway 7 was unexpected actually. I thought it was a one-time thing. They sent me an email if I was interested in coming down. I put down the days that I was actually going to do it. It was during Valentine's week, I believe, of February 2025. And I was like, okay, maybe I'll just pick this weekend to do this, see how it goes. I only went one day and it went out well. It was challenging because when I went to the opening night of it to get my pass, I was watching the Adore Me fashion runway kickoff. Got a few good photos of it. It was delayed, but they got to work right on time. And that's when I also tested out my first new lens, 75-300, and it was not bad. And I had a good corner because when you go to runway shows, that's when I found out, note to self, you got to be here early for that to get a good spot. Luckily enough, the day that I went, on a Friday, was perfect. So got there on the first official day, got a few photos, got a good spot to set up everything, table and everything, and it went out well. And I was like, sad that I didn't go the other days because I had other events that I was attending to, and I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna actually just stick to this as a one-time thing. After that, during the time, there was just creative events that I've done left and right, the same groups that I was with, photo walks, and summer outings as well too. Met a few people around there, here and there, left and right, and did a swim week unique mode as well during July. It was not bad. The suckish part was that it was on a rooftop and they were afraid about Mother Nature. They put this red tent and it was bad with the lighting and everything. But luckily enough, it was moved inside. So luckily the second half of it was just perfect. So then after that, I did other things as well. Met some people that came from OKC, did a hotel shoot as well. And then I did this one event as well in during the summer. It was the Build Expo, courtesy of B&H. It was a 2-day event and it felt like Comic Con, the International Auto Show, Anime NYC, the All Star Break for all creators, photographers, and models in one place. And when I stepped in there, I was like, wow, I was like, I was like, when did this become a thing? I was like, they're like, this happens every 2 years. I said, every 2 years? I was like, wow. I was like, this is worth it. I was like, and then there was a lot of people, and then there was some mutuals I remember as well too, and people I'm meeting, and then I'm looking at all this stuff, and I'm like, wow. I said, if I had $1 million right now, everything would be spent, every cent of it. I'm seeing smoke machines, RGB lights, filter lens, micro lenses as well. That they said they could have made one for me based on the measurement and any lenses I had, and I was like, you're joking. I was like, there's no way. And then they had this one video cam where he had this whole diaphragm of like NYC, but with the whole bodegas, corners, the whole like how it was back in the day in the 80s and 90s. And the whole camera is like a staff and it's just like moving around and the lenses, I guess it was around it. And I was like, no way. I said, that's a good diaphragm I would love to have for my Funko shots because I have a Funko page as well too. And that is also in development of maybe a side business as well too, besides being for show on my page. So that will be in talks soon in like 2 weeks with some folks that can help me with that. So then during that time, I also met a very nice friend as well too. She goes by the name Tavy. She's a very great positive influencer. What I mean by positive influencer, she is like the sweetest positive influencer that you would love to be friends with. And everyone seems to know her. Everyone is friends with her and helps you get connected with people and her and keep in touch with you in case like there was something that interests her that could also interest you as well too. She has a brand called TV Brands as well too. She also has two great friends as well too. Casey, who is a very lovely singer that I've been to her events as well too, and also her truly lovely bestie friend Madeline, who also has a very nice magazine. She and I met back at the Built Expo, me and Tavy, and I got a few photos of her. Saw her again the second day and the last day of the event, and was like, hope to stay in touch. And also, I also saw her during the Unique Swim Week mode a month after that, back in July as well. And then after that, in August, she asked me if I would come down for a Summerween event that she was hosting. I was like, Summerween? I said, you mean like Halloween in the summertime? And I was like, that's really a thing?
It
Because
is.
I was like, no way. And then the moment I got there, I was like, no way. I'm like, they actually have a Summerween event. I was like, they're joking.
It's cool.
I was like, this is epic. They had a lovely set out. Everyone was like in costume and their own design, their own looks. And I was like, I'm loving this. I'm like, this is I said they better and the funny thing is she just put up a post actually saying, should we do another Summerween tour? I was like, yes. I literally put it up all like yes, like no hesitation. I was like, let me know when you're doing that because I would love to do that again. Because
Hmm.
now that me and her have been doing stuff throughout the year as well too, and I also have another friend that's a photographer. I'm like, yeah, I gotta bring him along with this as well too because he is gonna love that as well. So then after that, after August, during that time of August, I get another email, a call back, Runway 7, apparently, for September Fashion Week. And
Mm.
I was like, no way. They're asking if I want to be a media pit photographer. And I was like, sure, why not? Blah, blah, blah. I read the contract as well, too, before signing my life away. Free exposure, portfolio build, be there on time of these days. Let us know what available you're at and stuff like that. So I was like, all right, cool. Got the sign, went to the casting for a moment, got a few shots right there. Saw how the casting was actually going as well too, in person to see who can walk the runway, no hesitation. And there was a lot of people, especially when that moment I got there. And when I saw a lot of people, I thought I was getting flashbacks of Black Friday. I'm seeing a whole left angle actually from my POV of people in black outfits down the block of 46 between 8th and ninth. No, 8th Avenue at the Sony Hall. And I'm like, what is this? I'm like, is this the one? And then I was like, oh, this is the line for the people who are going to be for the runway. So those that were waiting, that was for the media pit, went in first, got set up. And then I only stood there for like, maybe like, I think 5 hours because I had also to take care of some things a little too later on. I get out, I'm seeing the footage from the previous. I'm like, wow, that line is really long. And then when I got out, I'm like, whoa, that thing went through the whole corner until like the next block. And I'm like, I hope people. I'm like, luckily people are nearby a Starbucks. No, Yeah, they were nearby like a diner, 7-Eleven, Dunkin' Donuts, a little restaurant right there next to a hotel, and then there was like another spot right there as well, to like a little cafe shop as well, so next to the Sony Hall. And I'm like, I hope they managed to handle not using the bathroom as well too. So I left, and I was just like, wow. I said, it's a good thing I'm just photographing this stuff. And then I got to go to the fitting as well too. And then there was also a mishap when they gave me the media pass, but not the staff pass for the media pit. And they're like, oh yeah, we gave you the wrong one. You should have showed us this, like your name and everything on the Instagram post. And I was like, oh okay, so then where I'm at then? And like, you're in the middle. And I'm like, you're gonna be in the middle, blah blah blah. And I'm like, I'm sorry, you had me lost when I was like in the middle. I'm like, the middle of the runway, and they were like, yeah. So then I go downstairs, and then I meet my buddy who and I are doing a team up, and he's like, oh, you're here in the middle. I was like, yeah. I was like, you too. He's like, yeah. I was like, no way. I was like, this is crazy. Like, I was like, okay. And then I was like, hey, how you guys doing? Blah blah. Videographers in the back. We're like in the middle right here, and it was crammy, but at the same time, it was like, okay, this is going to be a lot of adjusting. So then after that, once they say, like, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back in a second, I was like, oh, fine, I can stretch. And then they were like, hey, we're going to go upstairs and get some shots and stuff like that upstairs. I said, wait, you can do that as well too? I was like, yeah, let's get some BTS and stuff. I was like, no way. And I was like, okay, cool, cool. And then luckily enough, got some photos like right in the stairs area and stuff like that. I was like, this is what you guys do? Like when you're in the middle? And they're like, when you're in the press pit, you got to do a lot, man, a lot of capturing and stuff. The only sacrifice part I did not get a chance to do was the backstage and stuff like that, which I didn't even do much still in the next season, which I'll get to in a second. So I was like, okay, this is a lot. And the crazy thing was I would leave like here and there during like the times as well too. And it was from I believe September 9th to the 14th. And it was tiring. It was like sore breaking, everything that you could think of. And I'm like, how do you guys do this? They're like, it's a lot of practice and a lot of things that you need to prepare. I said, you're telling me. And I'm like, I'm hoping this is a one time thing of doing this. Worth it. It was fun, but I'm like, hoping this is a one time thing. So we managed to actually got to take a lot of main soil, which I still have a lot to get through and still have a lot to post because when I looked at the chips that I had sorted out from the day that I started and ended that week, I'm looking at like almost between 7,000 or 8,000 photos I took within that week as well. And I'm like, no way I took that much. I was like, there's no way. I was like, do you see this? I'm like, how are they going to manage to have this by then? And they were like, they'll understand. I was like, okay, because this is a lot of work, but this is fine. I'm not complaining, but I gotta make sure I edit some of this stuff, and hopefully I screenshot everybody's name and just write them in a piece of paper. So within that time, I just open that paper. I'm like, okay, I got to this person, got to this person, got to this person. Who's next? Who's next? Who's next? And then luckily enough, I followed them as well too, in case they mention anybody and any of the photographers that met those models that walked and the designers and everything. And I was like, okay, I hope that was the only one time thing that I ever. And after that, my buddy and I, which his name is Malik, I will give you his information as well too. And plus, me and him, he came to me literally the morning of the last day, and he was like, he just pulled the most Nick Furious thing that I was like, did not expect. He's like,
Mhm.
hey, what if I tell you I'm putting up a team? If I put up a team together, I was like, what do you mean? He's like a team that like we can go to like events like this. Maybe we get paid for it and stuff like that. We just got to make a site, LLC, and all that. And I was like, count me in. I said, because I didn't think me and you would reunite because we last time saw each other at an ICU Pride fashion show at the greenhouse down in Delancey. So, backstory on that, we met at that place. And when he was like instructing how the runway should be and where the model should stop and how the lighting should be, I was like, wow, I said, this guy seemed to have a very good experience. I was like, I admire that. Mind you, we was in the most hottest day in the hottest area, and we were just like dying. And they were like, you guys want drinks? I was like, water, water, please. I said, there is no way we're gonna have alcohol, especially in this heat. And went out well, but it was the moment we got out there, it was like fresh air, freedom, thank God. I was just like, yeah, thank
Waiting for
goodness.
this one.
Yeah. So then fast forward to September, we were just like talking about it, and I was like, you know what? I'll be down for that. I said, that'd be great. So kept in touch officially for sure. After Runway 7, we were trying to figure out like what else is there to do. We did this one shoot together I invited him to, along with a Runway 7 staff member that is pretty awesome as well too. She was like also a friend of Malik as well too. I was, oh, thank you for bringing her along for this as well. Thank you, I appreciate it. So then that's when we was talking more about what to do next. Like, what idea photo shoot should we do? I said, should we be open out to like anything that we're doing? They're like, yeah, we should pretty much do that. That way, they know what we can do, and we can work around it. I was like, all right, fair enough. So October of 2025, we end up meeting up again as well too. I think we were trying to figure out. I think we did something. No, I was doing something there in the beginning. Oh, I was doing Comic Con first time with my best buddy. Me and him, we go way back since we were kids. Lived in the same neighborhood, same borough until we moved to Flushing. Went through a hiatus of no contact, and then somehow during the COVID days, I thought, you know what, sending out the letter to him, reaching out to see to get some closure, and he reached back to me, and we linked up 2 years after, and then we just hit it off right there, talked, catched up, and everything, and then since then, by October of last year, we did a Comic Con experience, and he knew everything for Comic Con right off the bat. Went on one day of it. He and I was just enjoying it, doing a lot of things. He cosplayed as the Thing, and I would give you his Instagram as well too, because he is very creative, just as me, but artistic, in a very artistic Michelangelo Picasso way,
Mhm.
and which I am actually going to advertise his art as well too, just to show off as well. And it was a good thing that me and him reunited. And I was saying to him as well too, I said, the next time you go to Comic Con, I'm gonna go for like the first 2 days. Third day is debatable, and I might want to try to apply as like the press as well too for the Comic Con event as well. See how that goes. Now that I have an LLC, maybe it could get me more exposure as well. And it was very epic for the first experience of Comic Con. A lot of things, a lot of cosplayers, of course, but it was like very amazing. And the fact that we got some good, amazing shots. Luckily, I recovered some. I recently lost some footage to that as well, but managed to recover some good ones. And then after Comic Con, me and Malik, and also Tavi, trio event together the first time, and we did the Victoria's Secret watch party at MSG.
Wow.
And oh my goodness, it was quiet at first. And then me and Malik was trying to figure out like, hey, where should we hit our stuff, like our bags and stuff. And they were like, hey, you could put it right there by us by the DJ area and stuff. I was like, oh, thank you for that. And they're like, yeah, no problem. So we're just trying to figure out like where should we shoot around, or should we just like wait it how it goes, how the lighting is as well. Like, luckily enough, MSG had like the platform lights on the bottom, so I was like, it's not going to be bad for us. But there was like a little sunset as well. And the moment we turn around, we see in the corner, and we're like, what's all that pink over there? And then I'm like, is that everyone for the watch party? And I was like, I forgot Victoria's Secret was a thing way before any of this other stuff came. Fashion Nova, Sheen, all of that. No, yeah, Victoria's Secret is a real big thing. And I was like, you're telling me. This one nice lady named Rose was like first in line, and they had like a pink carpet area booth right there too. And she asked one of the staff, hey, can those two photographers come over there for a second to just get photos of us? And we got here, and they were like, hey, okay, you guys call this friend? They're like, oh yeah, take a photo of this nice lady. And then after one person, there was like 5 people that came up to the thing, and then I looked, I was like, "Are we becoming paparazzis in a nutshell by this chance?" And they were like, "Yeah, we are." I said, "Okay, fair enough," and we just continued right there, and then we were just like, "All right, we're gonna disperse and catch like the show as well too," and we're watching that while we're just like, "Wow, like this is." And then my buddy was like, "That's how you walk a runway. That's how you walk a runway in the middle," and I'm just like, this is amazing. And they're like, that's how you walk around. I said, listen, I said, I hear you. I said, but it's a beautiful runway. But it's just everything about it is amazing. That's gonna be us next year. That's gonna be us next year. I was like, time will tell. But I was like, in my head, I'm like, yeah, that gotta be us next year. I said, the fact that we're here, we just did a paparazzi fiasco over there. I was like, it's possible. But I'm like, is it possible? And I'm just like
Sure it
hearing him,
is.
I'm just like hearing him just shouting out of it. I'm just like, bro, we gotta like think this through though. How we're gonna do that? This will take blood, sweat, and tears to get ourselves exposed into something like that. That's why I was like, you know what? Something told me I was gonna stick by him for certain things. And he said he's done so many things in the past, and he's met so many people as well, especially in the photo world. So I
Mhm.
was like, you know what? I'm gonna have to stick by this guy for the time being. So then during that time, he would invite me to like certain things that he would done as well. BK Fashion Week was one of them. An editorial shoot that he had me going literally the next month and the month after, which those were fun. Those were great that we did as well. And then there was Tavia as well too. That asked me saying like, "Hey, my friend Casey, Madeline wants to like have you involved with their projects as well." Casey with her open mics, her singing, and then Madeline with her magazine catalog as well too. And I was like, okay, that is awesome. And you know, hanging out with them two was like very great start in a sense. And then luckily enough, there was silly me. There was also another focus event I did in September of last year. They did it a French France theme, and they had like an Eiffel Tower prop. They had like a whole setup with the fan and the flower field as well. And obviously, I did another Funko Pop shot as well too. And it was with a Luffy Funko Pop, which I will show you that as well. And they
Hmm.
were like, "Oh my God, he's back with that again." I was like, "I'm gonna have to make this a big thing now." And I'm gonna make this a big thing. And they were like, are you gonna do the Funko Pop and the photos? I said, no. I said, I want to. I said, but I'm gonna do it a little differently. Luckily enough, I met someone that I gave the photo to as well, and he kept that. And I was like, you gotta have it. Keep that, man. Keep that as a signature. And I'm hoping to do it with him again. He has a hat business, and he puts like signature cards on there. And I was like, I need to do this one thing with you because the prop I gave him matched with his outfit. And I was like, whenever you do an event or something, I said, I gotta bring the cards and I gotta like put it on your hat so that way you show it off with the outfit and it pops out. He's like, cool, no problem. I was like, awesome. So during November and December and October, the last 3 months before this year, October after the Victoria's Secret, the BK Fashion Week, did Halloween content for the first time because that was very fun. And I thought you'd be too old for Halloween, but then when you do it photogenically,
You're never too old.
you're never too old. And I did that with Night Dreams, and we did two parts of it. We did one outside in Prospect Park. That was awesome that we did, and then we did a few the studio shoot in Brooklyn as well too. There was one person I did that did a clown look, and the clown one was very epic. I love. And one person did like a Grim Reaper look as well. That ended up being published in a magazine, and I was like, no way. I was like, no freaking way. I was like, I'm stoked. And they're like, bro, say that so that way they know that that's your. I said, no, of course. Like, you don't have to tell me twice. Like, I was stoned upon. And I was like, no way. I said, I don't know which one I love, the clown one, the Grim Reaper. But then it got even way better when we did a dumpster shoot outside of it, and someone did a gender bent Pennywise, but it was like a gender bent Pennywise Ronald McDonald look because she had the hair that almost reminded me of Ronald McDonald, but
Hmm.
she did the Pennywise look with the face and the raincoat that made you remind you like Georgie. And she had the balloons as well too. And we did the dumpster shoot right there. And I was like, forget the sword. The dumpster one just freaking win it. Like, and it had a good background as well. So after the Halloween one, I did like some holiday content as well too because I want to do some holiday content. The only suckers part I didn't do for November was the Thanksgiving shoot, a Thanksgiving parade. I was like, I want to do that. I said, but I feel like I gotta get there early. And they're like, will you really risk doing that? I was like, I think I didn't because I was like going down there in that cold, all of that. I said it would be epic, but I need a lot of hand warmers. I need to be in layers, and I need the right essentials to take with me as well too. I can't take all my stuff all at once during that time. I can't risk that. So I was like, November, I just did like a little bit here and there, like not much, but just a little bit. December, I did so much, holiday wise. I remember the year before, I did the Diker Heights Christmas Village. It's the whole area with all Christmas lights. Every block around that area was just Christmas decorated. It felt like you was in a winter wonderland, and it was really epic. The last time I did it, I felt like I wasn't ready for it, but it was like worth a shot. But the second time, I was like, I'm glad I'm doing this again because this was actually more better than I did before. And luckily enough, I had some friends and models that I know here and there that came along, and I had two that were like my Santa's little helpers, and they were very photogenic. They were awesome too. And then luckily, two other photographers were like, "Hey, like we want to do something else next." I was like, I want to actually get some photos down in Radio City and maybe Times Square as well too. Radio City one came out success, the Times Square one as well too, and didn't expect that to happen, but I was like, it was worth it. During the last 3 months before the year ended, I also did B&H events as well too. Those are fun to go around as well. You just gotta be there early in the nick of time to get the free stuff, the giveaways, and everything, and try the cameras. Those are fun. Loved every minute of it. Met some awesome people as well. And then, not to mention, I also got an idea what my next camera was gonna be because the last one I did back in February, I was capturing like every shot with this camera, and I'm like, oh yeah, I found this camera. And then one person got a photo of me, and I'm like astounded upon with this. I felt like that guy in that meme where he's at that nightclub and he's just like dancing, and I was like, yeah, this is the right one. It was just like liking every minute. It was a Canon EOS R8, and they're like, you want the stills? I was like, yes. I'm like, whatever he meant by that. Then I was like, I knew what he meant by the stills. Once it's like movement, it just stops where it's at, and I'm like, perfect. I was like, yeah, this is the camera I need. After that, during into the new year, did a little like little photo shoots here and there, I believe. Well, actually, I didn't do much in the beginning of the year. I was just recapping the stuff I'd done, going through things that I had to see, like work that I had to like still post up. Um, People were asking me like, hey, like I want to do this, I want to do that, and I'm like, okay, and I'm like, you know what? Why not? Let's make ideas happen with the people that I've connected with and recently connected in the last 3 months as well, and stayed in touch. And I was just like, let's see how it goes from there. We're gonna wing it. We're gonna try it out, see what new things are gonna come in store. During that time, I did some editorial with my buddy Malik. I did like a little side quests here and there as well during the first 2 months, well, first 3 months. Been trying to get back with Night Dreams. Luckily enough, I'm gonna do a shoot soon because I've been long overdue to get back with them. Because
Hmm.
they were like, "We're seeing what you're doing, man. Like you seen." I was like, "Yeah." I said, "But it's all thanks to you guys." I said, "You guys inspired me to do amazing things and getting myself out there." I said, and then not to mention, Runway 7 wanted me back in February, and I was like, "Oh boy." I was like, "How long is this one?" And I was like, "Oh, Valentine's weekend." I was like, "That's not bad." I was like, all right, you know what? It's after the Super Bowl week. Why not? And luckily enough, it no, look, I know what to do here and there. Get there early, get to the casting. The casting went through like that because I'm surprised everyone actually got to the casting waiting out there in that cold as well. And I'm like, this people still in this cold, like waiting out here to do. I said, but you know what? They really know it's gonna do it. And I bet there's other castings they gotta go to as well. Because I was like, Fashion Week is no joke. And I was like, I think you know what? Fashion shows might be a thing. I was like, if I had to do this the third time, then screw it. I'll do it the third time. But this is like my second time doing the second season of Fashion Week at Runway 7. So luckily enough, I knew what I was going to do. And then, after that, fast forward to like the end of February, I was doing like a little bit of shoots here and there. March was the same as well too. And then here we are in April, more things are happening as well. The amazing thing so far I've actually came across during this year that started was I met another person. Her name is Erin. She goes by her place called the Blank Space. She is a model, photographer, and artist as well too. She has done so many things, and she is very great inspiration on like hosting events, getting people out there, getting people to connect and socialize. And I love her work, and I've had a few content from her previous events that she has had me and my buddy Malik take a part of. And there are some stuff we're gonna do as well too this month as well. We just did one recently where she just had like a small get together, people painting and having a little artist pop up come up, and I was liking it every bit of it as well too. Like you have two form of arts in one setting: painting, drawing, and then photographing and videographing that at the same time as well. And not to mention, it was down in Soho. So who would have not mind going down there, down in the best part of the city in the art world in Soho?
Hmm.
So, luckily enough, there was stuff that she has discussed that she wants to do in the future, and I'm like, you know what? If she can get me like into things that I'm gonna do, who's not to say people are gonna start inviting me and asking me to things, and then more people I've met, I was like, here, this might be the year. Everyone is saying 2026 is the year, and I think I believe it for me as well too. And I'm going to events at the Rose as well too. Casting events for fashion shows that are upcoming as well. I think like the hard part about it is balancing.
Mm.
Besides like your real work, it's just balancing those days and events that you're trying to do as well too. Because I can manage to do both in one day, but doing like all in all day, that hasn't come across yet, and it's still debatable if I can do it all, like more than two events that in a separate time frame. And I'll be like, it's possible, but it's impossible too. So that's still a work in progress. I'm like choosing and picking which is important and maybe something you can reschedule as well too to catch up. So, but other than that, here I am now in this month of April, and the fact that we've also met during the time back at Chloe's birthday pop up, which that was really fun.
That
For
was fun.
no, I loved every single event, and the fact that it was all pink too. Everyone was wearing pink, and I was like, you know what? I would love to go to events like that, bar parties and stuff like that. Because recently I did one, I believe. It was back in November. They did November 1st Halloween party at the One and One bar. Someone invited me out there. And everyone was still in costume on a Saturday because not everyone got a chance to celebrate Halloween officially.
Hmm.
And I was like, wow, this is how Halloween parties is as well too at bars. I was like, wow, I said maybe this might be a one-time thing as well. And then that's when I saw Chloe's thing 2 months after, I believe. No, was it two? It was there in January, right?
It was February.
Oh wow,
Yeah, they got
yeah.
rid of in
A
February.
few
Yeah.
months later, then I saw that, and I was like, let's see how this goes. And then I was like, ooh, this is very interesting. I love her setup, and I love everyone's vibe. Everyone's energy was great, especially the fact that they came through after this horrendous snowstorm we had the day after as well. I
Hmm.
was afraid I was not gonna make it, but I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna make it. Luckily enough, I did, and I was like, thank goodness I made it.
I know, seriously.
And
I was like questioning too. I was like, am I gonna be able to go? I was like, I don't even
everyone
know.
was like left and right saying not gonna make it. I'm seeing it on the RSVP list. And I'm like, oh boy, please, I don't want to make that list because I would hate not to make it, especially I'm photographing this as well.
Right.
And I was like, you know what? I'm glad I made it. I'm glad I got here. And it was very enjoyable and it was fun. And then I ended up seeing her actually too at one of Aaron's events. And I was like, wait a minute. I said, I remember sending this to you. And I was like, why you look familiar? And I was like, oh, I said, yeah, I remember. Yeah, I was like, I remember with the I said to the blonde. I was like, what am I doing? I said, let me give you a hug. I was like, how you been and stuff like that. And I was like, I hope you're doing more projects. I hope like I can be a part of that as well too. She said, yes, most definitely. I was like, thank you. And I was like, I thank you for having me to your previous event as well too. And
Hmm.
I was like, why do I look? Why? I was like, why does she look familiar? I was like, oh, I remember. I was like, I know that face. I was like, her voice was also giving it off as well too.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Yeah.
She actually was on the podcast.
No way,
Yeah, she
really?
was. Yeah, she's really. I love Chloe. She's the
No,
best.
there's nothing bad you can't say about Chloe
Of
at the moment
course.
as well too. But other than that, there are some events I'm gonna be doing soon during this month,
Hmm.
starting tomorrow actually, and then
Any spoilers?
cherry blossoms are involved, and then I gotta go to the Rose, and then there's also the person that I met at the Victoria Watch Party. She's doing an event, and she invited me and my buddy out there as well. You're more than welcome to come. I can send you the link as well too.
Not too.
Yes, it's down in Times Square at the Hard Rock. It was originally for the 14th, but it got rescheduled to a different day that was convenient. So I was like, all right, I can still make it to that. Not a problem. The 12th, I'm gonna do, which I saw a few times on my Instagram, a color hunt. A color hunt is pretty much a gathering of photographers that have to find photos based on the color you're given. And I'm going to do that on the highlights. So I really want to see how that works. Like what color I'm going to give and what color I'm going to find this. I can imagine how difficult that could be. But luckily enough, I have three lenses that can make me capture like whatever color that I'm getting. And then I think I'm also doing a night event later on as well too at the Sugar Mouse as well because the Rose has been very, very open to people to come through to have an event or a party and stuff like that over there, especially fashion shows as well. And I like to give a very shout out to Paul, which I will give you his information as well too, for having me as well out there from the previous events as well. Luckily enough, a mutual friend that she introduced me to and said like, "Oh yeah, here's my card." And I looked and I was like, "You work at the Rose?" And then they're like, "Yeah." I was like, "No way!" I was like, "You know how long I've been wanting to go down there? I've been hearing stuff left and right about that place." And then they were like, "Oh, well, hope to see you now." I was like, "No, you definitely will. Like, let me know what event you're doing. And I would definitely come down there." And then I was like, "Oh, so this is it." And I was like, "I thought it'd be bigger though." I was like, "But you know what? I'm not complaining. I love it. It's nice." And because I was like, "Where is it?" And they're like, "It's right in there." And I was like, "Oh, this is it." And yeah, there's been like a few things I've done at the start of the year. I didn't think I was gonna do a lot, but then I was like, you know what? There's no way that you're gonna do less. You're gonna do a lot.
Do a lot and make the most of it, you know?
Yes, definitely. And I bet you probably have questions to ask, so fire away. Like,
You know what? You did talk a ton and you did actually answer like a good amount of questions regarding like the projects and experiences that you've been working on in the past, which were going to be mostly things that we were going to ask. What advice could you give to people that want to network and make connections and get involved with what you've been doing? Because you've met so many different people with all these different projects, and obviously like a lot of these connections have allowed you to be involved with so many different projects. How do you go about it, or how do you just like get involved with anything regarding even like Runway 7 or any other projects that you worked on in the
that
past?
is a good question. The advice I would give to newcomers and people who are developing to get themselves out there is you got to get out there, do your research actually too as well. You also want to make sure that you search these places at the right places, the right time, and way in advance as well too. Download Eventbrite, Partiful, Posh. Yeah,
I have all of
yeah,
them.
no, I have all those too, and it's like hard to keep in track of like what it's there because luckily they'll give the notification. That's how I pretty much started off was Eventbrite, and then people told me to download Posh, download Partiful. Luma is another one as well too because you might get random invites from people that you meet from a one-time thing, and then you're gonna be like, oh wow, there's a lot of things that are gonna happen. There's also Dice as well too, that has like parties and networking events as well too that you want to check. That's how I found out that Rumble 7 had like these little after parties as well. Luckily enough, I went to like two of them. It's just I gotta now carry like a less baggage with me and not my big bag at certain places. Yet they're very strict and that sucks. Other than that, when you go to these networking events, just be yourself. Don't change. Just you know, have those things that you want to give, like business cards, flashcards. Give a nice little brief introduction that you might know that you might want to say in your head, saying, "Hey, how you doing?" Because it be peer pressuring that you feel like you're in a fear of rejection, but then once you get to like say hi or someone makes eye contact and just say, "Hey, how you doing?" That's when you just start engaging and stuff and start asking questions, start asking for a brief introduction from that person, and you do the same as well too, and then that's how you're gonna click. With me, when I do it, especially I'm a photographer, I'll say, "Hey, how you guys doing?" And I'll say, "Hey, would you guys like a photo?" Or, "Hey, I like your outfit." "Hey, I like your project," or anything like that. "Oh, would you mind? You wouldn't mind if I catch a photo or a snapshot of you?" And then we just conversate when I take the photo, and then I give them my Instagram, and then I give them a brief introduction of myself. Eventually I'll see the person, who knows when, how, and where exactly. And that's how pretty much I get myself out there. And then once I go to like these events, that's when I start searching more to see like what's there out there. And then that gets me more interested because then I'll see like, hey, is this possible to join this? Is it like too late? How can I RSVP? How can I apply? And then I'll share it with people who are interested the same thing as well. So that's how pretty much I would give the advice to, and even like my past self as well.
No, I think that's great advice. I think that's true. I think just downloading apps and just going to these events, and then just you make your connections that way, and you just when you talk about the events, you click off well, and just be yourself. That can really help you to get involved with different projects and different events that you can be a part of, which I think is excellent advice.
Yeah.
And I also want to ask, what is something that you wish you knew when you first started doing photography, videography, and doing all these projects?
The setting adjustment. the setting adjustment and the editing process as well. Like luckily enough, someone like pulled me to the side and told me about like when it comes to your settings and editing. But I feel like I wish I knew that way before, so that way like the photos I took previously, I would have like knew what right settings to use to capture that shot, and what editing settings to have when I like edit the photo as well too. But what I would say though too, like what I wish to know more way before was like, that is a good question actually. I think I'm just gonna say like the settings and like editing process so far.
Hmm.
Because if it was like events or like anything, I would still stumble upon them one way or another, like after or before,
Hmm.
like it happens.
Hmm. I see.
Yeah.
Very cool. And then we always end off with this one last question regarding, the interns and associates, how they can get involved. I kept hearing even through the episode how you have like so many different connections and you want to give all these connections. If there is one, or if not multiple, up to your interpretation, piece of advice that you can give to interns and associates to get involved with your career and what you do and what you're even planning on doing in the future, as I know you do work now, and this is a lot of like.
Don't let anybody's word of opinions or concerns stop you from your passion. And, you know, when it comes to support, it's it comes in so many ways. One minute is one person will support you, and then the one next moment they change. As in like, oh yeah, I love your work and stuff like that. But the next one is like, you sure that's gonna really get you through life and stuff like that? Like, that's the one thing I hate for sure. And it's like, they think you're so attached to it, but you just want to like keep that going so little or so much as much you can give. They think you're like not focused on the real things in life, which sometimes your passion could be a part of that as well.
Right.
Just as you want to get other things in real life as well, like the full-time job, the items that you want, or you know the car, clothes, anything, just the same way as you want your hobby, your passion, that wants to be developed into a business. Just keep driving for it. Take breaks from it as well too, but then you know what, come back to it when you can. And whoever is supporting you and checking up on you, those are the real supporters. Those are the people who wants to see you go, see you win, and those who are giving you critical advice, they are the ones who want to keep you striving as well too. And I got some left and right as well too. And I got some people who would say like, hey, do better on that, do better on this, and hey, um, I hope you're caught up with everything, and we can probably connect again sooner or later as well. And I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. And like I said, don't let the negativity or the opinions or concerns get to you, because sooner or later they'll see how that process goes. And you know, if you're well, and if you're well 100% well on wanting to go for that passion, then keep going, and you still can balance things as well too, your real life and your business life as well.
That's great advice. That's excellent.
Thank you.
Well, this episode of the Cubicle podcast where we had Jason on talking about everything regarding his backgrounds, regarding photography and projects, and even future aspirations, all in the Cubicle. We hope you guys enjoyed, and stay tuned for next episode where all is said. Bye,
See you guys
guys. See you
around.
later.